the gacha genre is just in shambles at the moment. It is. I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, Gotcha's dead," or I'm trying to leave the space," and we've seen it. We've seen a lot of people leaving the space. But the thing about it is, people were leaving the space much sooner than what you're seeing right now. Like, people have been leaving this space. I have seen so many of my friends and my just close creator relationships like piecing out of the space. And you know why? Like, everybody's gonna be like, "Oh yeah, views are low, and Gotcha's dead, and there's nothing interesting to talk about, and it's so dry, blah 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 blah." Because things were operating on an unsustainable model from the beginning. People came into the space, farmed as much as they could, and pieced out. They just left, because the reality is that the way that the space was going, it's interesting. It's kind of like if I'm being honest, it's kind of like cancer, where it comes into a host and essentially bleeds the host, like multiplies, bleeds the host dry, and then the thing dies, basically, right? Where it's just like, when you come into a space, you essentially sap it of all its potential, and then peace out. Like, what do you expect to happen? By the way, I make lore content for Wuthering Waves. Check out my last video. I guarantee that you will enjoy it, or your money back. Now, back to me losing my mind. When I first started with Wuthering Waves, I saw a lot of content creators come into the space. They were super excited, right? They were like, "Oh yeah, this is going to be great. This is going to be so awesome. I can't wait for this to pop off or whatever. This is going to be like the next Genshin." Not literally the next Genshin, but just an opportunity to create a new community around a game that people enjoyed. That was the original idea, right? However, slowly after about a month, 2 months, so forth, so on, we started seeing this kind of trend where nobody was really watching videos about the actual game. All you see people talking about or engaging with are videos like this, where it's just somebody talking to a camera about the game, but not really about the game. It's like talking adjacent to the game, right? And so then what happens is you would have other people saying, "Oh wow, well, I made a video talking about this really cool fight or whatever, or this really cool movement tech, or this really cool side quest where XYZ happened," and nobody seems to care about that, right? And so then one of two things happens. That person decides, okay, well, what do people want to see? Oh, they want to see people trashing on Genshin, or they want to see people trashing on the other game, or they want to see people talking about, "Oh my gosh, this horrible decision by the devs with Jian's weapon," or something like that. And like, I get it, informative content to let you know, like, "Oh, there's a problem with this person's weapon." Yeah, that's helpful for sure. But the reality is, when you say like, "Oh, wow, what happened? The community was so much more lively." Technically, but what was it lively with? And was the thing that it was lively with a sustainable thing? Like, is it sustainable? Are people going to just constantly come back to hear the exact same thing over and over and over and over and over and over again? Oh, okay. It's like, kill Kuro Games. Devs listened. Like, like the whole cycle. It's just like, kill Kuro Games. Dev listened. I forgot what the third one is, but I'm sure y'all already know what that is. And then you're right back to, yeah. It's just kind of a continuous cycle, and it gets old after a while. Like, it gets old after a while. You know what doesn't get old, though? Talking about the actual game. Why? Because there's actually stuff to talk about. Because when the game has an update, there's something to talk about. However, the thing is, what are we talking about? And if it becomes the same rigmarole every single time, every single update for an entire year, yeah, people are going to get tired of that. They're going to leave. And then when you complain, "Oh man, there's no more views, there's no more this or that or whatever," what then? Then you leave. And it's just like, okay, so here's this is the thing. In the space, right? One of the things that I've noticed, it blew me away actually when I first got engaged with the space. I'm new. I've been in Wuthering Waves for since the beginning, actually, since CBT1. But in terms of content creation as a whole, right? And one of the things that always threw me off about this space is that nobody really wants to like collab like that unless you are already like really big, right? If you're a smaller creator and they're a bigger creator, there's not really a lot of reason to collab. Now, the reason why that logic, at least from my purview, doesn't make sense. And I've talked to other creators about this, big creators in different spaces, and they've said some similar things where they're like, that mindset doesn't make sense. Here's why. The way that a community works, right? When you complain, oh, there's no more views, the views are low, blah, 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 right? The way it works in a community is that when one person, you actually want people to grow in a community. You want that, because when they don't, the community will slowly dissipate and the views dry up because there's no new fresh traffic coming to the space. One person can't do it by themselves. Like, it quite literally is one of those things where it requires, oh, who would have thought a community requires a community? You require a community of content creators as well, because when somebody else grows, then they're bringing more viewers to the space. And as a result, when more viewers come to the space, that also indirectly benefits the first person. So it actually is a benefit that people grow. Now, let me ask you a question. In the entirety of Wuthering Waves, how many content creators can you tell me that have grown significantly from going to being not known to known? I can count on my hand. And I don't even need a whole hand. Right? Am I saying that, oh, it's the responsibility of other content creators? Absolutely not. But what I am saying is that the lack of organic camaraderie and like I said, collaboration and like community building, basically. The lack of organic community building is part of the problem. And this is also partly why so many people left. Like, people have been leaving for a very long time because they're constantly trying to make content for this community that seems to not really care about it. I think that the reality is, like, a lot of the people in this community don't care to watch content about the actual game. And the people who would be willing to watch content for the actual game left. They saw the type of content that was going to the top of the homepage, right? And they were like, yeah, no, I'm good. And so they just started watching like creators from like Japan or Korea or China or whatever. They left because they essentially got filtered out. So yeah, all that to say, yeah, Gacha is kind of in a bad spot right now. But the question is, who killed it? The views are definitely lower, but why? And some people would say, oh, the views are lower because there's more creators. Nah, bruh. People are leaving. It's not more creators like, oh yeah, there's more creators, so therefore the views are being dispersed across more people. No, the people are just leaving because this is not an enjoyable place to be, man. It's not an enjoyable place to be. The people who are like, for the most part, just kind of coming in, doing their thing, and then piecing out. Because this isn't a place that people want to stay. It's a place that, like, so yeah, man. It is what it is. I'm enjoying the game. I'm gonna make content for the game. But I'm just letting some of y'all know, for those who are kind of curious, or maybe you felt this way, like, man, things feel kind of off. Like, it wasn't as interesting, or it's not as interesting right now as it was. And that's part of the reason why. And I guess all I can say is I'm hoping that in 3.0, we can see a bit of a resurgence, but then that is actually nurtured properly. That's kind of the big thing. There's a lot of different ways that things can be improved. I'm not saying it's just all one thing, but these are definitely some things that could fix this situation. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. I'm a humble enough person to say if I'm wrong, feel free to, let me know, and then maybe we can have a discussion about it. All right. I'll catch y'all. Peace.
Hey, you. Do the thing.